Hi everyone, welcome to my kitchen. In today's recipe, I'm going to show you a classic Andhra meal, which is an absolute favorite of mine. The Dondakaya Vepudu along with the Charu served along with some hot steamed rice and some papad. And the Dondakaya is also known as the Kovakai, also known as the Tendli or the Tindoda, and the Charu is essentially a classic rasam. Today I'm going to be making a pepper rasam with freshly ground spices for both the vepadu as well as the rasam. So without wasting any time, let's just dive right in and I'll show you how to make these two delicious dishes. So the first thing I'm going to do is to make the vepadu. For that I have the Dondakaya, which I've slit and kept, and we're going to be stuffing it. You can also just slice it into four or quarter it and keep it as well, and it'll just work just as fine. Great. So now to make the fresh masala for the vepadu into a preheated pan, I'm going to add in the chana dal and the urad dal. So I'm going to roast both of these dals first until they become lightly golden and crisp. Ensure that you roast it on medium heat, because only then the dals will get well roasted. So after a few minutes of roasting, notice that the dal is getting golden and brown, and which is perfect. I'm going to add in the coriander seeds, the sesame seeds, also the til, some jeera and some red chilies. Let's roast them for about a couple of minutes until you notice that the seeds start crackling, and after that I'm going to add in the coconut. I can start smelling the aromas of the roasted seeds. I'm going to go ahead and add in the coconut at this stage and roast it until the coconut gets a light roasted texture. Okay, we don't have to brown it too much. Okay, this looks perfect. I'm just going to go ahead and now turn off the heat and allow the mixture to cool. And once it cools, we're going to blend it to make a coarse powder. So now that's cooled, go ahead and add it into the small jar of the Bajaj mixer grinder, and we'll blend to make a coarse powder. Did you know the Bajaj mixer grinder has a NutriPro feature which helps retain the nutritional content of the ingredients while grinding, similar to that of a seal butter, also known as the yummy kalli. Alright, this looks just about perfect, and now my next step is to make the vepadu. So I'm just going to go ahead and just stuff the Dondakaya with this mixture, and the rest of it, whatever is remaining, we're going to be tossing it all together. Okay, so a little bit of stuffing adds to that flavor. I'm just going to go ahead and stuff the Dondakaya, and then we will cook it in the pan. So the next step is to cook the vepadu into a pan. We're going to add in the oil. So once the oil is preheated, I'm going to go ahead and add in the mustard seeds, cumin seeds, the red chilies, the hing, asafoetida, and some curry leaves. Allow the mustard seeds and the cumin seeds to crackle, and after that we will go ahead and add in the Dondakaya. This looks great. I'm just going to go ahead and add in the stuffed Dondakaya and give it a stir, and I'm going to cover the pan and cook the Dondakaya until it's completely done. You can also sprinkle a little bit of water in between so that it develops more steam to get cooked evenly. We'll also add in some salt and turmeric powder and give it a stir. We'll just sprinkle just a little bit of water, and we'll cover the pan and cook it for about 10 to 15 minutes until it's completely done. So after about 15 minutes of cooking, the Dondakaya is cooked perfectly, and notice how beautifully the masalas are coated around the Dondakaya, and it smells absolutely delicious. Okay, and if you wish, you can drizzle a little bit more oil and then roast it for some more time in the open, and it'll taste really nice. What I like to do personally is also add in some jaggery, and this is my special twist to the recipe, and to give it that nice delicious taste. Okay, and this is completely optional. If you don't like the sweetness in your dishes, then don't add it, but if you do like a little bit of sweet and spicy taste, this is just perfect. Great, so it balances all that spices that we added, and it'll taste delicious. Wonderful. Just give it a stir, toss it for another couple of minutes, and our Dondakaya is absolutely ready to be served. And for the rasam, into a pan, I'm going to go ahead and add in the tur dal and the methi seeds. I'm going to allow the tur dal to roast for about a minute or two until it becomes slightly golden. and has roasted as well. Okay, notice the tur dal is getting golden and this is just perfect. At this stage, I'm just going to go ahead and add in the coriander seeds, the cumin seeds, and the black pepper for the pepper rasam. So this is like the fresh rasam powder which makes the flavors come out in the rasam beautifully. So just roast it for another minute until you notice that the seeds start crackling and you can start smelling the aromas of the seeds as well as the black pepper. So this looks great. I can start smelling the aromas coming through, and I'm going to turn off the heat, allow it to cool, and blend it to make a fine powder. So into the small jar of the Bajaj mixer grinder, I'm just going to go ahead and add in the roasted ingredients and blend to make a smooth powder. Alright, this looks perfect. Now it's time to make a pepper rasam. So the first thing I'm going to do to make the rasam is to add the tamarind water to a large saucepan. And I'm going to go ahead and add in the tomatoes, a little bit of turmeric powder, and some salt. So I'm just going to boil the tomatoes and the tamarind water for a good 4 to 5 minutes until the tomatoes soften. And after that, we'll add in our rasam powder, tur dal, and the remaining ingredients. So the tomatoes have been boiling for about 2 minutes and they have softened. At this stage, I'm just going to go ahead and add in all my remaining ingredients, which is the jaggery, the freshly ground rasam powder. We'll just give this a stir, and the tur dal, which is cooked and mashed really well, and finally lots of water because rasam is like a soup and it has a lot of water. So now I'm just going to boil the rasam for a good 7 to 8 minutes, and after that add in the seasoning, which is going to be done in ghee. And for the seasoning, I'm going to go ahead and add in some ghee into the pan. Ghee is absolutely critical for the seasoning. We'll allow it to melt. To this, I'm going to go ahead and add in the mustard seeds, cumin seeds, lots of curry leaves, and some asafoetida, which is hing, and we'll give it a stir. You can also add some crushed garlic if you like, and that's completely optional, but pepper rasam itself with these freshly ground spices tastes delicious. Wonderful. This is great. Now I'm ready to add it to the rasam. So notice that the rasam has been boiling for a good 7 to 8 minutes, and when it's boiling you will notice that it'll start frothing up, and that's when you know it's got the right consistency. Great. So now I'm just going to go ahead and add in the seasoning to the rasam, and our rasam is ready. And yes, last thing we will have to do is to add in some freshly chopped coriander leaves, and I will be ready to serve this delicious rasam for a meal. Let's boil for another couple of more minutes and our rasam is done. So I hope you enjoyed watching this recipe of how to put together a delicious Andhra meal. Wasn't that really simple? From the Dondakaya Vepudu to the Andhra Charu. Absolutely delicious, served along with some hot steamed rice topped with ghee and some papad by the side. Do give this recipe a try. When you do, don't forget to share your feedback in the comments below. Take a snapshot of it. Tag us across all your social channels and I would love to hear from you. So until then, until next time, happy cooking and healthy eating.